For more insight on tensions at the border in Venezuela, I am joined by John Kirk in Canada. He is a professor of Latin American Studies at Dalhousie University. John, thanks so much for joining us. So far, no large-scale shipments of donated food and medicine are getting across the border. Is it too early to say whether today's effort by the opposition was a success or not?
It's too early to say. The humanitarian crisis is well known in Venezuela. The problem is that there's been a massive politicization of it, particularly by the United States. So I think that the efforts to bring food into Venezuela will continue for the next few days.
And do you think today's events will empower the opposition, give them hope for the movement against President Maduro, or do you think it'll go the opposite way and empower Maduro?
I think that the problem with Venezuela is that you have a politicized society. One half the country supports the elected president, one half the country supports the self-imposed president. The tensions will continue, and they're not helped by international powers trying to influence the direction of events.
I don't know if you would be able to address this, but we have seen some huge crowds on the Colombia side of the border. But the deaths have been reported on the Brazil side. Do you know why that might be?
Well, on both neighboring countries, both Brazil and Colombia, both have got very, very conservative governments. Both have problems with the government of Venezuela. The government of Colombia broke relations with Venezuela and hasn't been an ambassador for some time. So I think that both countries will continue pressure against Venezuela for the foreseeable future. This is a mess. There has been some blood shed today, but it will continue. There is no easy solution to this problem.
And John, we're getting reports about these dozens of defections from the Venezuelan National Guard in particular. How significant is that? How will this turn the tide?
I think that the only way that the tide will be turned will be having internal discussions to seek a made-in-Venezuela solution. Until that happens, there will be continued repression, continued pressure from outside, continued meddling from international powers.
John, our last question, what are you expecting over the next few days, kind of more of this violence to continue?
I think that for the near future, nothing too much will occur other than, as I mentioned, the continued pressure from outside. It is very clear that the Lima group of countries want to bring about change in Venezuela. I think that if Venezuela didn't have the largest oil reserves in the world, this would not be as large an international problem as it has been. This situation will continue until Venezuelans themselves find a solution.
Professor John Kirk of Dalhousie University, thanks so much for your perspective.